She makes that smile, yeah, she's got that style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She's turning up the volume on the radio. Yeah. I'm gonna make it worth your while. I'm gonna make it worth your time.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Caerwyn Stables, and today we're here with my horse Envy, so she's my very good mare here, and today we're going to see a bit how to warm up horses properly, because it's a very important step in horse riding and in working. So to have a very good session you need a very good warm up. So today I'm going to show you all my different tips to have a good warm up and a horse who's really ready to work. So here my horses have a very cool style of living. They go out every day, all day in the field. So usually when I go and get them from the field to ride them, I take into consideration that they've already walked a bit all day, so they're already a bit pre-warmed up. But here it's a bit more special because we're in the morning, it's early, and she has just come out from her box from sleeping in at night. So different kind of warm-ups. I'm going to show you what I do. Alright, so first of all, these are my tools that I use for back warming up and kind of warming up her muscles a bit before we go riding out in the arena. So I have this massage pad, which is from Equestrian, and it also does heating. So it's really good for just really getting her cozy before riding. And I also use it with this kind of massage balm. So it's from a French brand called Warmup, and it's really good. So we're going to use that on her right now. So this is typically what I would do at a show for when, because obviously my horses don't go out at bay when we're at stay on shows. So I do this every morning just to kind of warm them up and everything, especially when it's a bit cold. It's really nice for them. So this is really part of my routine. So I'm going to start off by applying the lotion on her back. So I'm going to take her rugs off. So she's currently having 2 rugs because it's quite chilly at night now where we're living. So I just fold it up like that on her back so that she doesn't catch a cold where the massage pad isn't going to be. And I'm now going to start applying the lotion all over her back. So this is not necessarily her favourite part because it's a bit cold and it's chilly, so you know she's a bit frisky about it, but she will love it once the massage pad does effect. Now this lotion does help decontract her muscles, and so it's a really good warm up before working. Okay, so now in we go with the massage pad. So it's really easy to use. You'll see, you just have to put it on the back, strap up the strap, so you have 1 front one and 3 under her belly. And then you have 3 different programs for intensity, and then you have 1 button for heat. So today I've chosen the medium with the heat. So that's usually what I use, especially for warming up. Sometimes if it's for cooling off, I use the low program, but I very rarely use the high because I think it's a bit aggressive on horses. And now I'm just going to cover up again so that she's all nice and cozy while the massage pad just does its job. The program lasts 30 minutes, so meanwhile I'm just going to give her a really nice groom. So I'm going to brush her all over, brush her mane and tail, do her hooves and everything so that she feels all nice and pampered.
You are my pill, I swallow it. Take me away to Neverland, where colors fade my disbelief and make me forget my memories. Rent a car you can't afford, put on a song that we both know.
So when I'm picking out the hooves, I take advantage of that to do a little simple exercise of stretching her legs and her shoulders. It's an exercise that my osteopath gave me because she says that she can be a little stiff on the shoulder part, so it just helps if I do it every day to give her a bit of suppleness in that area. Now that that's all done and that she's all massaged and stretched, I'm going to start tacking her up a bit. So I put on her brushing boots because we're going to do a bit of flat work today, and I'm also putting an exercise sheet because it's a bit chilly this morning. So I like to work with different bits on my horses, and so Envy, for example, has one specific jumping bit, and then on the flat work I alternate between a double bridle that we've got here and a simple snaffle. I like to alternate because double bridle gives me more options, and it's really important as a rider to know how to ride in this bridle. It's true, it's a bit difficult, but honestly, if you know how to use it well, it's really a really good tool. So all the massage pads and the lotions and everything, they all help to get your horse's muscles really ready to go and work, but it doesn't actually replace a really good walkout and go and just walking for 10 minutes outside to exercise your horse, and also exercises their mind and everything, and then they're in a really good mood to go and ride. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take her outside and we're going to go and walk for a bit before going into the outdoor arena and doing our session.
Let your hair out in the wind. Put the pedal to the floor. Flame your light, take a smoke. Put your broken rib off, wafers on.
I'm really super lucky to have lots of trail paths and hacking grounds where I can go right next to my stables. It's really nice thing to do with my horses, and I'm also really lucky because Envie is super calm going out. Even when she's on her own, she's always really confident, and so I can take her out, just me and her, and it's really refreshing. It's true that with other horses sometimes it's a bit more complicated to go alone with them because they're a bit less confident, so in that case I have to wait for someone else to come with me. So it's really nice to have Envie and to just be able to go out whenever I want on my own with her. She also absolutely loves going outside, so that's why I try and do it regularly before our sessions, because it's something that really relaxes her and that she really likes.
Doesn't matter if the sun goes down. We'll still be up, still be up. Don't care about the place we found. We'll still be up, still be up. We're in this together. We both fall down. Doesn't matter if the sun goes up, 'cause we will still be high when the lights out.
So warming up is obviously about getting the muscles really warm to avoid stiffness and injuries. But of course, warming up is also getting the horse ready for real work and what's going to be in the session afterwards. So once I would have finished warming up and I'm going to start doing the ultimate goal of my session, so it could be jumping or it could be just galloping depending on what the session is, I'm going to ask her to be balanced and collected and forward. And so the warm-up is really about getting all of those things going. So here I'm really focusing on the forwardness, so I'm trying to see if she's really being forward enough or if she's still holding back a little bit. So it doesn't matter if she trots just a few strides, because what I really want is for her to be forward, and at the moment I'm really just concentrating on that energy. At the minute, I'm controlling the energy as in the speed, but what I would like to do, so the goal at the end of my session, is to be able to use the energy versus the balance to create the collection and have a really collected trot or canter.
Pretend the time is still. Stay in the
So some people go straight into canter when they warm up. They say it's better for horses who are a little bit stiff. Now Envie here, she has a lot of energy at the beginning of her sessions, and I feel like it's better if I try to relax her by walking and trotting for quite a long time. I think that walking is never time wasted, and once I start trotting, I really concentrate on the forwardness, but I also try and not let her go too fast because she has a little tendency to be a little bit overexcited at the beginning of the session, and so she can go a little bit too fast. So I just try and have the right balance between her being forward and her not going too fast. So what I do is I really try and tell her gently, no, we're not going to go in that hyper trot, I call it, and we're going to try and go a bit slower. So I try and bring her to that gently until she balances herself out, and I no longer need to ask her to slow down. Because when you've got the impulsion coming from behind and you can start to balance a bit the front, that's when you start having really nice elevation in the trot and when your horses really start trotting really nicely. So right now I'm just letting her engage a bit with her back legs, so her motor, and I'm trying to let her get all that nice engagement before I start balancing her out. So to get that balance at the front, I'm just going to ask her very gently, bit by bit, to get her neck support a bit higher and just be a little more on her hinds so that then I can get that elevation and that bounce that I'm looking for. So Envie is a jumping horse, so she doesn't do dressage for dressage, she does dressage for flat work, because when you're a show jumper, flat work is really what helps you build up muscle, and it's really the physio that you do on your horses. Flat work really puts in place all the right muscles and all the right power and collection, so everything we've been talking about, and elevation, which will really help us when we're in the arena and help her to do well.
dream, chase the thrill, make up the way as
So what I feel is important when I'm working on the flat is that every day is different. You're not starting your session with what happened yesterday. Every day is a different day for horses. Sometimes they'll be a bit more excited. Sometimes they won't be quite as supple. Sometimes they'll be a little bit down. You know, it's never the same. And especially as Envie is a mare, so sometimes she can be a bit on heat. So you work with that and you try and listen to your horses and try and find exercises that will be comfortable for them. For example, I always have a very large panel of exercises I can do on my horses, but I won't necessarily be doing all of them because it really depends on how they're feeling today. So some days I'll do some exercises, some days I'll do the other. Some days I'll manage to get that end result that I've really been looking for, and some days we won't get exactly to that because the session won't be absolutely perfect, and you have to accept that sometimes horses aren't at their best and you aren't either, and that's just horse riding for you. So once I've finished the part of warming her up on straight lines and big circles, I'm going to start just warming her up and working her on her laterals. So I'm going to start this by simply working on the circle and changing the bend. So I'm going to do a bit of exaggeration on the inside bend with my inside leg, so on the right, and then I'm going to change it and I'm going to go for the outside bend on the left here. And this will help free up space in the shoulders, and it will also create more impulsion and engagement every time I do it. This exercise also prepares her and me for doing the next exercises, which are going to be more lateral. It's true that you can gain engagement just by going forward, but that will upset a bit the balance. So if you want to have and balance and forwardness, you're going to need to use exercises like, for example, the bend, which is a very good exercise, which will help your horse gain engagement whilst maintaining its balance. And it's also going to help prepare, as I said, exercises like shoulder forward and everything that we're going to do later on in the session. So here I'm doing the bend one leg at a time. So this is more progressive, but it's also the most relaxed way to do it and to get your engagement without having horses that are heating up. When I'm working on laterals, I don't want to be resisting or pulling the horse on the bit, so the idea is to really do it without resistance and on a bit of a long rein. Again, this isn't dressage, so the most important thing is warming her up, that her back legs keep moving, that she's doing the right movement, and that she's slowly getting towards the final goal. Once she's done that, I allow her now to stretch, nice long neck with a nice movement without her accelerating. That's really what we want. Here we're going to do a bit more shoulder fall, so I just prepare whilst I'm going around the corner, prepare the bend, and really shoulder fall is just putting the bend on the straight line. So I'm acting like I'm going to go on a circle every second, every stride, but in fact I'm walking in a straight line. So here we're going to do the same exercises I did walking, we're going to do them trotting. So I'm starting by working on the bend like that on a circle, and I'm not sitting to trot because I don't want to be bouncing on her, because again, this is flat work, not dressage, so it's really all about her, about the horse and her movements, even though we recreate same movements as dressage, so it's really about her being comfortable about everything. We're really here to work her and do the best physio for her so that her muscles will work right and everything, so I'm not going to bother sitting that trot.
We'll still be up, don't care about the place we found. We'll still be up, we're in this together, we both fall down.
So again here, just working on the bends on a circle, shifting them from inside to outside regularly. This will help free up the shoulders and making them move correctly, and we're going to need that later on for whatever we're going to do, if it's jumping, if it's flat work, if it's dressage, because you will get much more results on your horse if you control them by their block and the shoulders, and if you just control them with their head.
Sun goes up, 'cause we will still be high when the lights out.
So I'm now going to go into shoulder 4 in trot. So I'm going to start by slowing the trot a bit so that I can put a bit more impulsion when I'm actually in the movement. Shoulder 4 always looks better in trot because it's a symmetrical gait, so it just looks more kind of neat. So shoulder fall, it's really an exercise that we use to create impulsion, engagement and elevation. So now we're going to see if my trot is better than it was at the beginning of the session. So I'm going to go around the corner and do a little diagonal. And as you can see, she is trotting beautifully.
Take me away to Neverland, where colors fade my disbelief and make me forget my memories. Rent a car you can't afford, put on a song that we both know, let your hair out in the wind, put the pedal to the floor, flame your light and take a smoke, put your broken rib off, wafers on, doesn't matter if the sun goes down, we'll still be up, don't care about the place we found, we'll still be up, we're in this together, we both fall down, doesn't matter if the sun goes up, 'cause we will still be high when the lights out.
So now you see she's really trotting well. She's got all the engagement, the freedom in her shoulders. She's really got that elevation. I mean, obviously she's not going to trot like a dressage horse, but she's still trotting pretty well. And so now I'm just going to work on a few transitions before I start working on canter. So when I'm transitioning, I do sit the trot just the last few strides to get her balance right, and then I use my outside leg to keep her hind back legs in check so that they don't go too far towards the outside and lose the engagement, and I'm going to do that just a few times before I do it at the other rein and then start cantering.
We can pretend that time is still, stay in the daydream, chase the thrill, make up the way as we go, live for the moment.
One of the important things in transitioning is really keeping the movement and keeping the horse forward. So when she transitions, I focus on getting a good walk so that she keeps moving forward and I keep that tension. So once I've done those transitions on both reins and that she's done them perfectly well every time, I then let her get a bit of rein, let her extend herself for a bit, let her just breathe a bit, have a little breather, and then I'm going to start cantering. And when I'm just doing a flat work session like that, really the work that I do before cantering serves to show if when I start cantering she's really working correctly in the right movement and everything, or if I'm going to have to trot a bit more before starting to canter again. So I'm just going to show you a few images of her in canter. So Envie often senses when I'm going to canter, when I'm going to start cantering, so she does remember then that she is actually quite excited about it, and so then she just dances around a bit like you can see now, and it's a bit of a balance between keeping her with me and trying to calm her down and actually going to canter. So what I like to do is to start cantering from trot for the first canter, because then she just cools down a bit and she doesn't get too excited, because if I go from a walk sometimes she just kind of bounces into canter and then it's a bit too much energy. So as you can see here, she's actually quite relaxed, so I'm really pleased about that, and it also means that we have done a sufficient and very good warm-up, so that's good. And she's actually very calm, and she's also got the right balance and energy, so I'm really pleased. So when I was working in walk and trot, I was using the bend a lot, but here, when I'm working in canter, I'm really going to focus on her being straight nearly all the time. So I can use a bit of the bend on the outside, because that will help her get the shoulders really just in front of her hind legs, so that she really gets that straightness, which is very important for engagement when we are working in canter and also when we are jumping. So what we want is really a lot of impulsion, but we also want quite a good balance. So Envie isn't her best thing to actually be very balanced in canter, which is why I have this double bridle sometimes and that I have to use it. But today actually I didn't have much use for it, so I was very pleased because she was very well balanced on her own. So that's always a good sign that she's very relaxed. And now I'm just going to try her on the other leg by doing a quick flying change.
About the place we found, we'll still be up, we're in this together, we both fall down, doesn't matter if the sun goes up, cause we will still be high when the lights out.
So I'm done with my warm-up right now, so I'm gonna go on with the rest of my session. She was really perfect, really good today, so I'm really pleased. So don't forget also that warming up is really important, but cooling off is also a very important thing to do. So maybe we'll do that another time in another video, but for today I'm gonna finish my session, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
When she makes that smile, yeah, she's got that style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She's turning up the volume on the radio.